The internet in Nigeria without Twitter was something nobody imagined. But it is the current reality, as about 17 million people out of the country's population of more than 200 million have been disconnected from the microblogging site. The outrage against this government action is huge, maybe even beyond what the federal government expected. But there is also an army of Nigerians stoutly in defense of the decision to suspend Twitter in Nigeria. The Twitter ban is not the only worrying situation in the country. The insecurity has not reduced. The agitations against inequality, impunity, injustice, and nepotism continues to get stronger. Much of the blame for all the problems the country is facing is put at the doorstep of President Muhammadu Buhari. Some people say that is unfair. What of the state governors, representatives at both federal and state parliament, chairmen of local governments, councillors, ministers? Who is holding them accountable? What buck is passed to their table? I will sit with Ezenwa Nwagu, a political analyst who is the executive director of the Peering Advocacy and Advancement Center in Africa. This is Politics on Sunday. I am Femi Akonde. Start from very current issues now. It appears as if Nigeria is coming to a convergence point where we are beginning to agree on the need to talk, to have a discussion, to fashion out ways that would help solve these challenges that the country is currently facing. And it seems this constitutional review or constitutional amendment seems to be the way to go. We've seen the zonal public hearing, even the national public hearing ongoing at the Senate. But some people again are saying that this is a waste of time. What's your own stand on this? Well,
in spite of the fact that I think that the National Assembly has made an industry out of constitutional amendment processes, in every legislative year, the National Assembly takes on this whole thing about amending the Constitution. And then if they are not amending the Constitution, they are doing something with the Electoral Act. So it's not for me to say that it's because we now want to have a conversation. If we want to have a conversation, the conversation needs to be taken out of officialdom, rituals, in terms of, for instance, the Nigerian Union of Journalists having public discourse, medical association having a public discourse. Indeed, citizen town hall on these issues can drive what you can call a national. You understand? So once we make it a ritual, citizens get to the point where they say, oh, they've started again.
Is it just an attempt to buy time because citizens are getting so agitated every day and putting the blame at the doorstep of government for failing to protect lives and property? Could it just be to buy time and maybe see if they can calm frayed nerves?
See, the thing is that I've said it and I continue to say it. The political elite of our country lack initiative, they lack innovation in terms of how best do you engage. For them, every election, pre-election year, violence is the only method they have found to negotiate for power. And that's my reading of it. So we come to that point. If you do a media content analysis of your news posts 2015, posts 2011, posts 2007, I mean pre-2007, pre-2000, you are likely going to see the same pattern. The whole challenge about insecurity, about, you know, there is the insecurity, there is the politics of insecurity that is going on. There's another part of it that is the politics of insecurity. You understand? There's the politics of insecurity. There's also insecurity. Because, for instance, you can go to Plateau and something is happening in Barkin Ladi or Ugwi in Plateau State that has 17 local governments or so. And then you see Plateau on fire. Plateau is not on fire. Somewhere in Barkin Ladi is on fire. But when you say Plateau is on fire, that is the politics of it.
Who gains from that politics?
Oh, first, there's an international dimension to demarketing Nigeria that is going on. Okay, you need to demarket. The competitiveness of Nigeria needs to be whittled down in terms of its. So, in 2000 and over 200, as we speak now, over 200 mass shootings have taken place in the United States of America. So, if you count every day, there has been one mass shooting or the other in the United States of America. But there is no news outlet from America that tells you that America is insecure. So the politics of insecurity is there. The real insecurity is there. The ability of Nigerians to make a differentiation between when we are politicizing insecurity and when we are dealing with the challenges that we face is another thing.
Talking of, you said something interesting about efforts to demarket Nigeria and reduce its competitiveness. Recently, the Foreign Affairs magazine released an article or published an article that says Nigeria, the giant of Africa, is a failed state, and this got the federal government very furious. Could these also be part of that politics and deliberate effort to demarket Nigeria, or really Nigeria is at the threshold of danger?
So Femi, why should I be excited about somebody saying that Nigeria is good? In 2014, we had that prediction that by 2015 there will be no Nigeria. The same people who were saying that came as observers for 2019 election. And there was no apology. Nobody apologized to Nigerians. So there is a consistent programming. And I'm not saying that we don't have challenges. Please don't mistake that. We have our challenges. Most countries of the world have their challenges. Indeed, democracy, a lot of people all around the world are rejecting democracy. Citizens are protesting, even in US and in Britain. You understand what I'm saying? So the countries have their challenges, compounded by COVID-19 pandemic and the rest of them. So we do have those challenges. We may not have had the kind of political leadership across board, from subnational governments to the federal government. We may not have the kind of leadership. But our faith in democracy is that at the end of 4 years, at worst 8 years, we have the process to redeem ourselves, to retain those we want to retain and to reject those we want to reject. So to create this mass hysteria of failing, of collapse, for me does not make sense. I don't understand it. I will not understand it. I will not support it. I will not encourage it.
So do we see a situation or a system whereby citizens play or pander to the whims and caprices of international actors who are bent on maybe demarketing Nigeria? Look at recently when the president made a tweet talking about dealing with the problems in the Southeast, the words and the language he used. Twitter had to pull it down. And then it caused so much outrage on the social media. Some people say that a lot of actors, secessionists, agitators have even said worse, used more terrible languages, and Twitter...
No, I don't want us to make that comparison about I've asked a friend, I said, who is documenting the outrageous, unacceptable language that purveyors of violence have been using? Is anybody documenting them? Is there an instrument? And he said, oh, the only instrument we have is the one for government. That is there. Okay? But like I said, when you say Twitter, how many of our citizens are on Twitter?
Quite so. It's a growing number.
No, no. Do you know the population of our country? Do you know that over 70% of your citizens are not connected to telephone? Yeah. Are you aware? They are not even on Android phone. Talk of being on Twitter. So the shapers of the narrative are not in the majority. So you can hear, if you live outside Nigeria, you would think that I will not be able to come to this studio to have this engagement with you. Somebody who is living abroad is the one telling us about our condition. We are not the ones feeding them about our condition. They are the ones feeding us about our condition. And they come back home and discover that what they are saying is not true. Yes, we have a problem, but our politicization of the challenges that we have does not factor in the patriotic part of us that needs to understand that the world is a competition and that there is somebody who is interested in demarketing you and ensuring that you do not have that competitive edge. You can't. People will not want to come to invest in your place. Yeah. People will not want to visit you. Yeah. Okay, so every year people go to Ghana, a small country, Ghana. The tourism train to those countries, they are huge because you get the impression that they are safer. But the truth of the matter is that you live in Abuja. In the last 6 years, no bomb has detonated in this town. Sure. But prior to 6 years ago, we had Madala, we had Suleja, yeah. We had Nyanya bomb blast, we had Banex, we had UN headquarters, we had police headquarters, we had even the Eagle Square. And for past 6 years, people who live in Abuja, who couldn't go to church except their bags were searched, are still talking about the fact that they are insecure. Oh, because there is one chance. In Italy, in every country of the world, there is crime. True. So you don't demarket your country because of the challenges that you face. You encourage those who have duties to ensure that they do what they have to do to keep you safe. But the truth of the matter is that we don't even realize that in everything that we are doing, we are going to demarket our country in a way that at the end of the day, even when we cut out of the challenges that we face, we will not be able to go back.
Okay, another emerging trend of insecurity now is the targeted attacks on the Independent National Electoral Commission. The INEC chairman raised an alarm, and I know you have been actively involved in advocating for strengthening electoral laws and entrenching democratic principles in the country. Now there are fears that the Anambra election is around the corner. We also have some off-season elections, like they call them, and including the general election coming up in 2023, that all of these attacks are likely to undermine the conduct of the election, that there might be no election.
There will be elections. We have not had any elections that didn't have the challenge trailing those elections. And fortunately for me, we have cooperated in many of the elections in terms of you were in the I remember you were in the Anambra election.
Was there.
The first and the second.
Yes, true.
Did you have a feeling that Anambra election would have held?
No,
but we were all there. Yeah. No referendum, no election. The man is serving out his 8 years term. Elections held. 200 and something people voted for Obiano. Yeah. In a population of 2 million people. Yeah. Has he not run out his tenure?
He has.
So what is it? The 2015, didn't we think that there was going to be a state of emergency on account of the challenges in the Northeast? Yeah. It was peddled that indeed that President Goodluck Jonathan was going to put that state of emergency so that the elections will not hold. What we will get may be a little shift. You understand? The people who attack INEC facilities, because there are case by case, we must do a case by case. There are some that are not necessarily attacked. The attacks are coming from, you know, whatever agitation is coming on from the Southeast. But in many other places, you had clear cases of irresponsibility on the part of security officials within INEC.
Or some could be post-election violence.
And the rest of them. We must put the Akwa Ibom 2019 case is different. The Jos, the Plateau Inferno came from a carelessness by a security official. Some of the ones that also happened in the Southeast were not necessarily attacks. So, but whatever it is, those who are attacking those facilities will know that it will only increase the cost of running those elections. It will not stop the election, because we are now going to need more money to rebuild the infrastructure that has been destroyed. And whether you like it or not, those infrastructure will be destroyed, will be rebuilt. And when they are rebuilt, at the end of the day, elections will hold. People you don't want, or you may not have wanted, because of your attitude to the election in the first instance, emerges and run through their process.
There is this growing secessionist agitation in the Southeast. Could it also be that the government is not properly engaging with these aggrieved groups who feel locked out of the scheme of things and even want out?
The desire to want out is going to be permanent. There is no, at every point in time, people believe that if they are not here, some other place is better. You understand? So the government has a responsibility to use all avenues available for dialogue, engagement. And then those who want to engage must also understand that if you close the opportunity for engagement, then nobody can engage with you. But what about people who don't contribute anything and they are also agitating? You understand? Because at the end of the day, you must look at, you may be where you are saying you want out and you don't know that you have been left. You understand? You need to have that broad conversation and engagement, and it's a two-way thing.
The Electoral Act Amendment Bill is still trapped in the National Assembly. What's going on?
We need to put the pressure on not just the National Assembly, but also the executive. And one way to do this is to say you have the idea of separation of power does not mean antagonism. It's about cooperation. Is there a possibility where the Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice can leverage, his understanding of the bottlenecks for assent at the end of the day, work with the National Assembly in some kind of committee engagement and dot the T's and dot the I's and cross the T's in a way that eventually, when this law comes from the National Assembly, we are not going to see this forth and back that we have seen. I call it executive legislative conspiracy against the Nigerian people to give them a good law. Sometimes we can take sides with the executive, we can take sides with the legislature, but we can push them to cooperate and make sure that 6 months, according to international best practice, that 6 months before the general election, the laws that will govern the election is already available to not just stakeholders, to majority of the citizens.
The Southern Governors Forum and a lot of people have been asking the president to talk to Nigerians, because sometimes it appears as if there's this loud silence between the president and citizens. People do not really understand what direction policies are heading and even what direction the president is steering the ship of the nation towards. And the president again is asking for understanding. And then people cannot really reconcile all of that. You're asking for understanding, but we hardly even know what is on your mind. Do you see a lack of understanding between the president and the governed citizens?
You see, we are ritualistic people. We are people who have been passed through. So an Obasanjo comes, he was doing what he calls media chats. Okay, so some guild of editors get together, nominate themselves, and then they get to the president, ask him questions, and then he answers, and then we move on. And then Jonathan came, did that, and then this man came and said, that's not my style. Let me ask you in all honesty, in real terms, what is the value of those presidential broadcasts?
I think it gives citizens the clear picture of policies.
The president is not the only purveyor of policies of government. There's a whistleblowing policy by the Ministry of Finance. People are engaging it. People are being paid money for blowing the whistle. That's a policy of government. Okay? There's a Minister of Defense who should communicate the policy of government on defense. There's a Minister of Information. So the truth of the matter is that we have so concerned, at the same time, we centralize our thinking, but we want devolution. A governor who attends state executive council meeting, federal executive council meeting, every Wednesday, he's in Abuja.
A minister.
The ministers attend, the special advisors. What is their job? No, what is their work?
Are you saying the president is being unfairly blamed for most of the problems facing the country?
Because we want federalism. At the same time, we don't want to practice it. Femi, we have a governor. We have a local government chairman. This local government chairman has a budget. Femi, you have never asked of the budget of your local government chairman, but of your local government. But they have a budget. Every year, they shouldn't spend 1 naira without budgeting what they are spending. Educated people are not interested. We hold that which is far accountable, but we don't hold that which is within. We are not interested in holding that which is. So I am saying that let the ministers do their work. We used to have, even when President Obasanjo, we used to have the ministers roundtable that Professor Jerry Gana was organizing every week or every month. Yeah. You know, where every different ministers come and explain what they are doing. We can talk about that. The president can have that ministerial 1 hour, 2 hours, 30 minutes sometimes.
I think the president's media office just started a weekly ministerial briefing just to try to...
No, you understand, it has happened. But at the end of the day, what we need to always ask is the value that we get from that. What is the actual value that we get? Emotional? We get a feeling that somebody has talked to us. Does he move the needle from one point to the other? Because if we get excited, by the time he talks, we take 1 week to discuss what he said, what he did not say, what he should have said, and what he didn't say. But the real task of governing moves from one point to the other. Those who have the response, if you invite a minister to come to this program, he will give you 10 excuses why he cannot come. True. But whose responsibility is it to speak for the government? Am I the one to speak for them? They should, if they were talking, if you had Minister of Housing, Minister of Finance, Minister of engaging the public from time to time, you will not have that lacuna. Is there a policy that says a minister cannot have a weekly or monthly engagement with citizens? Is there something that says a governor cannot? There's also the quality of representation. Yeah. Where do you have people who are in Senate coming back home to discuss the policies that they are debating? Where is their constituency offices that money is paid for them to run constituency offices? Who has engaged the senator to say, where actually is your constituency office?
But you know, sometimes we see them give out grinding machine, clippers for barbing, motorcycles, and they claim that it's empowerment for their constituents.
So that is the challenge that we have. In that engagement, is there a conversation? Is a beggar relationship? Is that his job? Do you know where your senator votes on any matter? No. Can you, on the tap of your phone, find out where he voted on any single issue that is being debated?
Just a noisy aye, nay.
So his responsibility is oversight, representation. Abi? That's part of his job. Now he runs away and says, oh, I cannot come. If I come, they're telling me about burial. They are telling me about school fees. They are telling me about snake beat my child and all of that. Because of that, he does not go home. And he does not run a functional constituency office. If 109 senators run effective constituency offices, if House of Representatives, 300 of them run effective communication, is not, with this centralization is a problem. Nobody wants to talk about it. It's easier for me to say, oh, it's cheaper for me to say, oh, Femi, the president needs to talk to us. And you say, oh, if you saw what Eze said today, he gave it to the president. But there are other levels of indolence that we are not challenging, that also helps the citizens to come to a point where he understands what is going on. The man who represents me in Senate has a responsibility to tell me what he's thinking about this constituency, which he should have had his own constitutional amendment program in his constituency.
First.
He should have had before this one. So from Abuja, he goes into and sits down somewhere. And then people are bringing memorandum to him. Where did he have a conversation in his constituency? Who is holding him responsible? Who is he accountable to?
An insightful interview which brings a lot of things to bear. But most importantly, the leaders in Nigeria must work together to pull the country back from the brink and prove naysayers wrong. These leaders, whether in government or not, will have to think out solutions that will bring peace among all Nigerians, irrespective of where they come from. Well, those are my thoughts. You can continue the conversation with me online, but you may not be able to follow me on Twitter until the Twitter ban is lifted. Nevertheless, my handle is @Femi Akonde TVC. Thank you for watching.